Welcome back to the REM Marketing Weekly. It's your host, Josh Culler. And we've taken a little bit of a break over the holidays. I wanted to make sure that I got my business in order, got some interviews on the books that weren't being rushed and that sort of thing. During the holidays, doing interviews with people, having guests on the show can be a very big challenge because would you believe it or not, people are actually taking time with their family. So that being said, I do always plan on taking a break from podcasting at least for a couple of weeks, but we're back up and running. One podcast episode a week will be going out from here on out. I want to start this first episode of 2025 with a little bit of a kind of insight into social media content marketing specifically for real estate investors. And this isn't going to be like, hey, go start a podcast and put out 4 social media videos a day and that sort of thing. My intentionality of bringing this topic to you is to, one, bring in lead generation, and number 2 is to build your brand for motivated seller leads, right? And the thing is that I actually am going to be insightfully bringing you a presentation that I just presented last week to a real estate mastermind group that I'm a part of called Collective Genius. And I presented to them for about 30 minutes on this topic. And I'm literally going to walk through with you every single thing that I did with them. And everybody that's in that group is a real estate investor in some way, shape, or form. They're actively marketing to bring in deals for their business. So these are the things that I teach them as active real estate investors that I'm going to be bringing to you. So first of all, I appreciate your patience with me and taking a little bit of a break and a little bit of a breather from putting episodes out. I do have some amazing guests coming on the show that are coming up. So starting next week, we'll have guests back on the show. That being said, I wanted to kind of hit a really nice topic with you guys today. So it's just going to be me today. Plan on bringing you a crazy amount of value, so hang tight. Topic of discussion is going to be lead generation and brand building, leveraging social media content, and just content marketing in general. So the first thing that we're going to be doing, and I have a slideshow here that I'm looking at on my side. If you're actually, I'm not even going to be showing this on YouTube because I don't want to distract you, right? So I'm going to be following along with it in case my eyes deviate off the screen. So the first thing we're going to be doing is going over the objectives. There's 3 core objectives, and I want to make sure I get across to you guys today. What is social media marketing? The benefits of social media marketing, and how you as a real estate investor can actually leverage it to generate leads and to build your brand. Again, I'm not going to be talking to you guys about how to record your dancing TikTok videos and how to record all the things that you do and document and have a full-time videographer walking around, following you around everywhere and that sort of thing. We're going to be entering at a point where maybe you haven't done any of this yet and you're thinking about it. You're just not entirely sure where to start. Or maybe you've started, but you're not entirely sure where it's going and you need a little bit more direction and guidance. So we're going to be kind of discussing those things. So the first thing that I always want to address when it comes to this type of conversation is, what is social media marketing as a whole? It's important for us to understand what social media marketing is, because if we don't get the grasp of the conversation of what it is, then we start to create content that we're putting out on a daily basis, and then we get 4 to 6 weeks in and we're like, why are we doing this in the first place? Because it has no relevance and it's not generating any business for me. And we want to avoid that conversation, because that conversation sucks, because now you've invested not only your time, but probably a little bit of money and a lot of your brain power to create this content that had no direction. So that being said, marketing as a whole is the umbrella. Social media marketing is a part of that whole, right? It's underneath the social media or it's underneath the whole marketing umbrella as it stands, right? So I think the problem that I see a lot in this, and I've been in this industry for this real estate investing industry for 13 years now, and a lot of what I see is the tendency is real estate investors really like to detach social media and content marketing from their overall marketing objective, and then they're going for the views, they're going for the subscribers, they're going for the followers, but that doesn't pay the bills, and that doesn't necessarily bring in the leads and therefore the revenue. Now, not to say that we don't want to discount any of those metrics. They tell a story, they help us tell a story and guide our content, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. It shouldn't be what we're trying to accomplish if you're a business owner that's trying to leverage social media marketing to bring in leads, right? So my definition of social media or content marketing, that you can interchange those, is literally just answering the questions that your target audience has about who you are, what you do, and your industry. So as a whole, we can boil down everything that we do from social media. If we turn on a camera and we start filming ourselves talking about a deal or talking about how you can sell your house to us as is, that sort of thing. If we literally just frame everything we do from a video content perspective for our demographic, which are motivated seller leads, then it's literally this: answering questions that they might have about who you are, what you do and how you do it, and the industry that you're in. For example, people probably don't know, they may be familiar with what a wholesaler is, but they definitely don't really know what a cash buyer is. They know the route of selling their house traditionally through a real estate agent, and then you're marketing to them now. It seems like a scam, like, oh, and people are turned on to scams now. So it's like, oh, the cash offer. Like, what's a cash offer? What's a real estate investor? I thought that was just somebody on Wall Street in a suit and tie, and they were, really evil and only valued money and that sort of thing, only looked out for themselves. And now I'm getting marketed to like this. This seems like a scam. So literally, that's the way we're framing it. And it's important to make sure that we're framing everything that we do from a social media or content perspective around this statement. I'll say it one more time. It's answering the questions that your target demographic has about who you are, what you do, and your industry. The next thing is, so this is a quote from Donald Miller. If you've never read the book Story Brand, great book, by the way. If you are somebody that has not established a customer journey or your avatar or your target demographic, I highly recommend going, if you just go to Google and look for Donald Miller Story Brand PDF or whatever, it'll come up. It's simply read the book. Like, I think it's a good read. You could honestly get a summary of the book too. Get the analogies of what it is, maybe go on YouTube and have somebody explain it to you or whatever. But here's the sampling of it, is that Story Brand helps you create an actual journey for your customer, define who they are, first of all, what their needs are, what you can offer them, and how to get them to that offering and service them, right? So the quote that he gives is, and I kind of tweaked it to my own liking, to the way I like to kind of frame things. He says, people don't buy the best products and services. They buy the products and services they understand the fastest. So if we think about that from a standpoint of when we get marketed to, typically it's not the volume in which we get marketed to. It's not like, it may seem like it, like you got marketed to 1 million times on Facebook ads and billboards and direct mail pieces and all that, and then you converted. And it may seem like it's the volume, but the purpose of the volume is to inundate you with so much information and marketing that you understand the service of the product you're being pitched faster than everybody else. That's the point of it. Think about the reasons why we as humans don't move forward with things. It's normally because of fear. And the biggest contribution to fear is lack of knowledge. So marketing, as it stands, is meant to fulfill that gap of knowledge, that knowledge gap, right? So when we eliminate that knowledge gap, now it's easier for that lead to convert and actually work with you, because you've gotten rid of every bit of their fear, comforted them, and brought them to a place where they're comfortable talking to you. And you did that because you marketed to them enough, or talked to them on the phone enough, which is a marketing sales crossover, that they understood your service fast enough, and then they chose you over somebody else, right? So that's the way we're treating our content marketing. So here's how you start with your social media marketing. First things first is we need to establish what your North Star is. So I use the term North Star. There's the obvious story behind it, is the baby Jesus and the wise men followed the star and, led them to Jesus and that sort of thing. Like, sure. The North Star to me is an understanding of, in the early days of sailing and that sort of thing, back in the 1500s, 1600s, that sort of thing, they would use stars to navigate. Well, we look at the North Star and decide that's where we're going, which ultimately equals out to what are our goals or our objectives. Okay. I just got off the phone with a client of ours who actually is going to become a client of ours. And we were talking about what we're doing our social media for. So he's going to be working with us to manage his social media content. And we were talking about it. And at first, the objective of him doing the social media content with us was for, to attract capital, to attract professionals. He works with a lot of real estate agents. They bring him deals. He's a very big contributor to that in his market. And he markets hard to the real estate investors that are in his market, which works. That's his North Star for that. But then he started talking about like, well, hey, what if I start like doing videos on to motivated seller leads and put it on this channel? And I said, well, hold on now. The reason why we have this channel is to build relationships with business professionals and real estate agents, not motivated seller leads. Those are two different demographics. So if you want to go the route of starting to market to the motivated seller leads and putting content out for them, then we need to create a whole separate strategy, because that's a different star that we're going to be following. So the objectives has to have an alignment, and you need to make sure it's tangible. It's something that you have a goal for, and you're like, this is the objective. Even if that goal is like to raise capital, or the goal is to make connections with real estate agents, or the goal is to just market to more motivated seller leads and be able to put out content for a resource for them. Whatever that is, we need to fix that into our marketing plan, which should be ultimately, it should be a part of the marketing plan, right? What are we trying to do? What are we marketing for? Okay. You're taking that social media marketing and pairing it to that. It's literally that simple. Get that figured out, because if you don't get it figured out, you're going to be putting stuff out that's going to be a waste of time. And you're going to be like, why am I doing this in the first place? And then you're going to shut it down and say social media didn't work, wipe your hands of it, and never touch it again. And we don't want that. The first way that we're going to be doing this is nailing down who your target audience is. I'll go back to the story brand Donald Miller example. Make sure you go check that out. If you haven't done this yet, this is Marketing 101. It's very important. Before you do anything that I'm talking about, nail this down. Figure out who your target demographic is. We have to get that nailed down, because if we don't, then you're not going to be able to create any kind of a runway for your efforts in the social media world. So we need to know who that is. Be very definitive, like make sure we're very much thinking out who this is, their tendencies, where they exist, what type of medium they're consuming, age demographics, obviously geographical locations, that sort of thing. We need to get that all figured out. The second part of that is where they are. Now, where they are typically in a marketing world is not necessarily geographical location, but more along the lines of where they're consuming media in any way, right? So typically the reason why TV advertisements work, now we had our good friend Tony Javier on the podcast weeks ago, and we were talking about TV ads, and he was giving a lot of analytics on why it works and that sort of thing. That's a great example, because if you're putting out TV ads and your demographic is in the 60s, then that's great, because the type of medium they're consuming is not on a cell phone, and it's not on it could be on an iPad, but it's, they don't care about that kind of stuff. They're watching TV, actual live TV. They're on the news networks. They're watching, PBS and all that kind of stuff. So TV ads that come up, they're just used to watching it that way, because that's how they grew up, right? So we need to know where they're at and where they're consuming content or consuming media. And that is where we're going to be drawing direct lines for. This is why, like, when it comes to the conversation of like LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok, if you're marketing to motivated seller leads specifically, then I might look at you and say that might not be worth it. That might not be the direction we're going. Facebook, YouTube, sure, absolutely. Instagram is a maybe. It really depends on what your specific demographic looks like. But from a standpoint of like TikTok, well, TikTok's a very worldwide platform. However, it's made up of a lot of teens and younger adults who typically don't have equity in a house or own a house as a landlord or anything like that. So it makes kind of no sense for us to be able to market to them on TikTok. Now, there's an argument for like we could market on TikTok to bring deals in through other wholesalers or other real estate agents. Sure, that's accurate. However, if that's not our model and what we're going after, that's not our North Star, then we don't market there, right? So we need to figure that out. Interrupting this podcast episode to tell you guys that this podcast is managed and produced by Color Media Productions. Yes, shameless plug, that's my company. However, we do this for a lot of other people as well. Most people that we work with are in the real estate investing space. So if you're listening to this podcast specifically, you probably are a real estate investor, given it's called the REI Marketing Weekly. If you're somebody that either wants to start a podcast or you have one going and it's becoming a little bit of a hassle, you're looking to transition to somebody that works a little bit better with a fluid motion in terms of you get the recordings done and then they do everything else. Well, that's what we do. We do fully managed podcasts from start to finish, video, audio, show noting, the graphics, publishing, everything that goes into it. It's a full service business that we run here in a service for you as a real estate investor if you are running a podcast. Additionally, we also do social media and YouTube management as well. So all of that being on the organic side, if you are interested in learning more about working with us and just recording content with guidance and strategy set by myself personally, and then not doing anything else after that, where we're taking care of everything from start to finish, then make sure you go check us out at colormedia.com, CULLER media.com. Hit us up there and we can learn more about working together, hop on a phone call and see what we could do for you. Now back to the episode. Next thing that you really have to understand is that content marketing or social media marketing, it's a marathon. There's a difference between advertising and content marketing. Advertising is where I could put a Facebook ad out right now and I could literally get clicks coming through my funnel today and start converting those. That's going to take a lot of creative. That's going to take a good amount of money for me to spend on ads, but it can generate quick results, transactional quick results. Content marketing is, I would, for your purposes, look at it more as a resource for your demographic. So if a motivated seller is up, we're going to be leveraging it as SEO. If a motivated seller lead is up, let's say, for instance, they inherited a house and they look up at 2:00 in the morning because it's on their mind, they're motivated at that time. They look up how to sell my house in Atlanta that I just inherited from my uncle, and your video pops up at that time. That wasn't necessarily advertising. That video is coming up as a resource. They're going to click on it and say, oh, you answer my question. Let me call you first thing in the morning during business hours. And then now you've built ultimate rapport with them just by providing value. That's where content marketing comes into play because it's evergreen marketing. It's not something that you can put out today and it will instantly get you results quickly. That's not what it's built for. It's built to help build authority and credibility in the marketplace for you. So we need to understand that. And in a perfect world, we do both of them. We do advertising and content marketing. I know a lot of businesses that are built on one or the other, but I think the most successful marketing businesses I've seen do a good amount of both, right? So one of the first hurdles that we jump over when it comes to creating content, now we're starting to get into the action items of creating content and content marketing, is creating the topics for our video content. Now there's really a couple ways that you could do this that are very surefire ways that will eliminate that roadblock altogether. I will give you unlimited topics to be able to work on. Number one is, obviously, if you're doing any kind of motivated seller lead marketing, you are probably talking to leads, or at least somebody on your team talking to leads. So you have an acquisitions person, you have a lead manager, you have somebody on your team that is talking to leads. They should be doing this anyway, but document every single question that comes up, whether you think it's big or small, whether you think it's an easy question to answer or a hard question to answer. Either way, have it written down. Those are hard, factual questions that are being asked, and we go back to our definition of content marketing. It's answering the questions that our demographic has. We do videos on that. And we don't just do one video on it, we do multiple videos on it. Now you might say, Josh, I'm going to run out of topics at some point because there's only so many questions leads can ask. First of all, you'd be surprised. Secondly, do it multiple times on one topic because you're not going to say the same thing if you record. If I put a video out today that's recorded, let's say the video topic is what is a cash offer, and I put that video out today. Let's say I recorded another month from now and I put that video out then. I'm not going to say the same thing. I'm going to have different context. I'm going to tell a different story, maybe give a different case study. I'm probably going to look different. And that change, that shift, and even maybe just swapping my shirt could resonate with somebody and hit them right at the proper moment. And they receive that video, but they didn't receive the one that I sent out a month ago, right? So we need to think of it that way. So that's one way to come up with your topics is write down every single question that a lead has, do videos on those, do multiple videos on them. Second tip that I'll give you, that's the key tip that's going to unleash everything for you. ChatGPT, go there. I know you're probably sick of hearing it, but now at this point, it's a tool, okay? ChatGPT, go there. Give a prompt that says, I need 50, 25, 75, 100, 1,000 topics for video content for my business based on the content that's on my website. Go to your website, copy the URL, paste it in there, and better yet, go to 3 or 4 other competitors' websites in your market, copy their links, paste it in there, hit enter, and you're going to have 100 topics that are going to show up on your doorstep through ChatGPT that's going to give you contextual topics based on the content from your website, which obviously is going to be geared towards what you do, who you are, the industry. Now go into the field, do some videos that way. That's how you get your topics. Obviously, you can analyze your competition. You can use Google Keyword Planner for SEO purposes, that sort of thing, but that's how you do it. So kind of coming down the stretch here, and I know I bounced around a little bit, but I want to make sure I'm, first of all, debunking some roadblocks. First of all, I wanted to establish why we're at the starting line in the first place. Now we're going to remove some roadblocks and then give you next steps. So A couple of rules of content marketing that are just like, here's what we need to make sure we're looking out for and avoid. Number one is don't do it cheap. Now, when I say cheap, I don't mean that you have to spend an immense amount of money and open your budget wide open for content. I'm saying don't go out and hire a $3 an hour VA that's going to edit videos for you. That's a representation of your brand. You not manage it and they put it out and it sucks. There's misspelling, there are grammar issues, editing issues, all that kind of stuff. Don't hire it cheap. To me, a good video editor, if you're going to hire somebody on, say, Upwork or something like that, look for somebody that's between 12 to 15 bucks an hour. Typically, when it comes to especially anything in the media space, you get what you pay for. If you want to manage people and hold hands and constantly have to correct stuff, for sure, hire a $3 an hour VA. But you got to remember, in the world, how many videos are you going to actually have edited? A video editor that's 15 bucks an hour is probably going to be able to edit social media videos in under 30 minutes or so a piece. So you're ultimately paying $7 to $10 per video. And how many videos are you putting out? You're probably not going to be putting out 2 or 3 videos a day. You're probably going to put out 3 to 5 videos a week, something like that at max. Then if you're doing more than that, probably a good idea to come talk to me and then we work with you, right? But at that point, that's kind of, the way you want to look at it. Additionally, when you're getting the content going out, make sure that you have somebody staffing, like an assistant or a marketing person, where you aren't posting the content yourself. You're going to stay very inconsistent with it. It's not going to go out on the same day and time that you have laid out and that sort of thing. Make sure you have somebody that's responsible for that and owns the actual posting of the content. Even if it is, for now, your video editor that's doing it and you're bootstrapping it, somebody to just get it out consistently. Make sure you're not doing it yourself because you have a business to run and we need to make sure you're focused on that. Number 2 is don't try everything. We don't want you spitting out like 25 different styles of videos and that sort of thing at the moment. That's not the time. Right now, we just need to get you in front of the camera, start talking, put those videos out. Even if you don't edit, just put the video out, record yourself, don't even watch it. Make sure you do your best, obviously, and you practice. Practice makes perfect, but then just put it out. Let's try that. The next thing is don't use jargon or typical technical terms within your videos. And if you do, it's a good opportunity to debunk those jargon or technical terms. What I mean by that is, again, I use the example of cash offer. Most people don't know what cash offer means. The average seller doesn't have any idea what that means. Like, I've been a part of many of these calls. We offer cash. Oh, does that mean that you walk into the bank with a bag full of cash? How does that work? No. It actually means this. Use that as a video. But be careful about that within your videos because it's going to be easy for us to, because we do this on a day-to-day basis, for us to use that within videos and then you'll confuse your demographic. Make sure you're talking at a 3rd grade level. You're explaining it like they're a child, like they never heard about anything that you do before. Keep it simple. Next thing is obviously know your target demographic. I'm not going to go into that any further because we hit on that pretty well. Go to where they're at. Keep it simple. Don't look to spend $20,000 on a recording studio right now. Just get out in the field. If you're doing deals, get out in the field. If you have a house under contract and stand in front of the house, record a bunch of videos, batch them up, and then get them edited and posted out. Just keep it simple right now. Build up to it. Use your phone. Go on Amazon, buy a $30, $50 microphone that's going to plug into your iPhone and record the videos that way. Then you step up from there. We practice, we get better, we innovate, we start to do a little bit more. That's how it works. Don't just jump to the tallest tier because I can't tell you how many offices I've walked into where they had $10,000 worth of camera gear still sitting in boxes because they didn't know how to use it and it overwhelmed them. Don't be that person. Last thing, stay consistent. If you choose to put out 3 videos a week, put out 3 videos a week and don't stop. Even if you think that it's not doing anything for you, just continue to do it. The proper actions will amount over time. You will get leads. I promise you. I've seen this more than enough. We worked with more than enough people for this to actually work. And, make an effort to making sure that you hold yourself accountable for that too. If you miss something, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on the horse. It's just like going to the gym. Like if you skip a gym day just because you were tired or you forgot about it, get back in the next day and go in. That's the same thing here. In the world of marketing, or especially organic content marketing, I can't understate how valuable consistency is. It truly is the secret sauce that nobody wants to talk about because it's not sexy. So stay consistent. That's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully that helped actually launch you into your content or social media marketing journey. again, I want to make sure that I'm being a safe haven for you where you're not having to just create, 5 videos a day and put out 4 podcast episodes a week and that sort of thing. We need to start somewhere, and starting from ground zero is important. Take step number 1, step number 2, step number 3 in that order. Don't try to leap from 1 to 350 because you'll stumble, you'll miss a bunch of things, you'll not understand the work that it takes to get to where you need to go and that sort of thing. So let's start from there. Listen, if you need further help, you need some more context, maybe you need a little bit more guidance, I am more than happy to hop on a call with any of my listeners to do that. Just find me on either Facebook or Instagram, Josh Culler, and send me a direct message. I'd be happy to walk you through any steps, hop on a 30-minute call with you and see if we're, either going to work together or I'm not going to put you on a sales pitch. I truly do want to help you. If it's something where I can sit down with you for 30 minutes and help you map out where you need to go and get you some direction, more than happy to do that. Maybe I'll record it for content purposes and leave you out of it, but we'll see. So send me a direct message. Find me on Instagram or Facebook, Josh Culler. I'm verified, so you'll find me there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. I got a lot of really great guests and great content that's in store for you. That's coming up, so make sure you subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And also find me on YouTube because I'm putting out a lot of great content there as well. Josh Culler, you'll find me once again there. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.